welcome back. I haven't brewed for quite a while because I've had problems with my car and work commitments and stuff like that. So everything there's sorted now. I've got a free weekend, so I thought I'd do a bit of brewing. So because the weather isn't very good, we got Storm Brian apparently at the minute. It's been a bit wet this morning, very windy. So I thought I'd brew kind of a winter ale. I thought I'd call it Storm Brian. For the ale, this is only my second all grain batch, and I've decided just to make something up completely myself. So what I've decided to use is Marisotta, 4.5 kilograms, some crystal malt, crystal malt 40, I'm using 1 kilogram. I'm using some Cararoma malt, half a kilogram, and I've got 1/4 of a kilogram of torrefied wheat left over from a previous batch, which I've read is good for head retention and mouthfeel. So I thought I'd just chuck that in anyway, just to use it up, as with a little bit of the Marisotta left over from the last batch. For the boil, we're going to be adding some Liberty hops and some Cascade. The reason I've chosen them is purely because that's what I got in the freezer. Just thought I'd use up what I've got. Hopefully it'll turn out alright. My last one turned out quite nice. Improved a little bit with age. So the other thing I've done is I used the free trial on Beersmith, and then when I come to build my recipe, I've gone outside the free trial period, so I've looked at buying it, and it's I think about 25, nearly £30. So I've got an iPad, so I downloaded the version for the iPad just to give that a go. It's not too bad. It's not quite as easy to use, I don't think, as the desktop version, but we're slowly getting there, and that's what I've done the built the recipe on this time, so we'll be working through with that. So what I'm going to do now is just going to go and get the grains and then put them in the mash tun. Everything's all set up behind me. We're currently at 72 degrees. I think, bear with me, I've got to get up to 72.8 for the mash in, and sit there for 1 hour for the mash at 66.7. I've got everything set up, got the Hermes coil. So because my mash efficiency was quite low last time, what I'm going to try and do this time is run off through the grain bed, then run it through the Hermes coil to keep it warm, and then put it through the sparge arm, and then hopefully by that I'm going to get the best efficiency out of the grain. So it'll either work. I've set the efficiency on the Beersmith at 70%, so hopefully we'll be sort of reasonable to what it comes out at. As I said last time, the mash efficiency was down, and I ended up adding some brewing sugar. It tasted okay, because I wanted a bit of alcohol in the beer. I'm not making it just for alcohol, but this one, if it follows the recipe, I'll go back a bit, we should be looking at just over 6%, so I'm anticipating not being that good, so 5.5% I'll be very, very happy at. Alright, let's get on. God, I need to tidy this up. Bit of Marisotta. lift you over. So that's the grain bill. It's looking good. So I'm going to check the temperatures with the strike water, and then I'm going to run delete. Okay, I've stirred that for about 5-10 minutes now. Everything's mixed in. It's all nice and even. It's a nice colour. We're looking for 66.7 degrees for the mash. Handy time to turn off, isn't it? So 61 at the minute. 62. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put the HLT back on. Right, everything seems to be going okay. I've managed to recirculate the wort now, coming out the filter bed, through the pump, through the hose coil and back in the sparge arm. The reason I'm doing that, as I mentioned earlier, is because I want to increase my efficiency, so hopefully that's the way to do it. I did experience a problem as I've done this. I think because the ambient temperature's not massive here, and there's quite a lot of pipe that I'm using, I started to lose temperature, and the mash went down to 62 degrees Celsius. We need 66. 66.7. We're at 64.7, so we have 2 degrees off at the minute. So just frantically trying to warm it up, really. I haven't got a control panel, so I've got nothing controlling the temperature on the HLT. So I'm just doing it manually, literally by pulling out the plug, out the extension lead. Probably not the safest way to do it, but it's working at the minute anyway. So the temperature's rising. Obviously we want to get as much of the fermentable sugars out of the grain as we can, so we need to keep that temperature up. Once we sort of hit the temperature, I'm quite tempted just to stop the pump and then leave it to do its thing for the rest of the hour, and then maybe just before the end make sure the temperature's up again before I run it into the boil pot. I've got a little bit of work to do for the boil pot, because last time there we go. Last time I brewed, which was my first ever all grain brew, I experienced, because I was using leaf hops, they blocked up the drain pipe. It wasn't something I'd really thought of. I thought I might be able to drain them out as they went through into the bucket, but that didn't happen. So off eBay I bought this, which comes with a lid, which is really tied in me and I can't find it in a minute. It's, I think for a tea infuser or something like that, it was only about a pound or so. The holes are really, really small, so I've added some more holes into it, and I'm cutting a 15mm hole in the lid to accept the 15mm pipe on the pickup. So I'll poke the pipe through the lid and put it all together, and hopefully that will block out the hops, the hop debris. We've hit 66.6, which I think is where we wanted. 66.7, there we go, 66.7 now. I'll probably leave it there. I'll turn that pump off, and I'll also turn the element off now. It's 66.8, so we just leave it now and we'll see where it goes from there. Got that tap off at the bottom. I've got a very slight leak on the top where the pipe connector or the hose connector goes in, but it's typical, isn't it? It starts when you've got water in there. The other thing I discovered this morning was the bottom of the sight glass on the HLT was leaking. Not big, you just tightened it up. So whilst we're doing the mash, I'm just going to crack on and find the lid for this and then drill a hole in it, just so we can set up the boil pot. Right, the first stage of the mash is over. That's just been, well, we're 3 minutes over an hour now. I've just taken the first runnings and the gravity is 1.076. So I've just written that down, because I'll forget it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run from the mash tun straight with gravity into the boil kettle, and then I'm going to fly sparge, or I'll possibly batch sparge actually, with, there we go, with just under 19 litres. That seems a lot, but we'll keep an eye on what's in the boil pot, because we want our pre-boil volume. I can't see it on here. Should have written it down. Our pre-boil volume is 28.96, so 29 litres. So I'll start running that off, swap the pipes over, run it off with gravity into the boil pot. I nearly forgot, and it would have been a nightmare. Nearly forgot to add that. That's the dip tube. Upgraded it to put this filter on the end. So hopefully that's going to work. So I'm just going to put that in quickly. I've just moved some of the equipment around a little bit, because at the moment I only have one pump. I don't appear to have enough pipes, and I need a couple more connectors actually. So I'm just running this off manually. I didn't want to drop it from height into the boil pot. Also I wanted the boil pot on top of the bench. It's a ladder actually, but whilst I'm doing the boil, so I'm just running this off into a litre jug and then pouring it straight into the boil kettle. Just trying to get used to all my equipment really. I don't think we've got too much further to go. One of the reasons I didn't want to disconnect some of the pipes, because wart's very, very sticky, and I didn't want to get covered in sticky wart and get it everywhere and make a right old mess. So as I do the batch sparge, I'm going to run the HLT liquor through all the pipes to clean them, and then when I do the final drain of the mash tun, I'll swap over the pipes, because I just want to clean out the Hermes coil first. And at the minute I can't think of a better way of doing it than just to run the hot liquor through it. But I'm pleased with the clarity of the water at the moment. It's a little bit darker than anticipated. Maybe the crystal malt was a little dark, or maybe I put too much in. It's all learning. It'll probably lighten up a little bit when we start sparging. But we shall see. I'm sure it'll taste nice. That's all connected. Didn't think I got that on the video. I did think I turned it off, but quite cool watching the water clear from the pipes. So I've now just got to fill with nearly 19 litres of hot liquor. As I say, I'm running it through the Holmes coil just to clear that and clean that out. It's running in there lovely. So I let that fill. I'll probably leave a couple of litres, maybe, I don't know, maybe about 5 litres to fly sparge with. I'm not really sure how I'm going to sort of brew really. My first time I tried fly sparging and my gram efficiency was very low, so this time I'm going to try sort of more of a batch sparge and see what the efficiency is like that way. Just give it 10 minutes I suppose, just once this is filled up again. Might get more out of the grains, who knows. So this is the fun part, is I'm doing all these hoses because they're hot as well, which was something when I first started I didn't anticipate, but all these connectors are red hot. Funnily enough, they're the same temperature as the hot liquor. And also I never thought about where all the water runs to. What I will do is just check the temperature in the mash tun. .8, so I think that's too hot for any enzyme activity, if I remember rightly. But it'll be ideal to wash the grain. I'll lift you over. Hopefully you can see in there, so I can't see the camera. That's filling up in the boil pot. So we're just waiting to see something register on the gauge. The bottom mark is 11 litres. So we've still got a fair bit of volume to actually run through this, haven't we? So, yeah, you can see a bit in there. That's inside the mash tun, obviously. Right, everything's gone pretty well. We're just starting the boil. At the moment the temperature is 74.6. I've got 30.5 litres of wort. The gravity, the final pre-boil gravity is 1053. It estimated 1059. So if I've worked this out right and I put this into the data on Beersmith, it means my mash efficiency is 79.7. That, I'm presuming that's worked it out correctly. I put it in originally as 70. So it's come out 79.7, so I'm happy with that. It's suggesting that our pre-boil volume should be 28.96. We've got 30.5. So if I put 30.5 in there, don't see the change in it, but there you go. We're aiming for 23 litres as our batch size. So all we're going to do now is I'll start the clean up, get rid of the grains in the mash tun, etc. And just leave that to start boiling, and I'll pop inside for a bit and just sort out the hop schedule, and then I'll be back in a bit. Okay, the water's boiling. We just about hit the hot break. In a couple of minutes time it should all be clear. So we're going to start adding our hops. The hops I've chosen are Cascade and Liberty. The only reason I've chosen these hops is because that's what I got in the freezer. I didn't want to go buying any more hops at the moment, so I've kind of made this up as I've gone along really. I'm going to put in 40 grams of Liberty for 60 minutes, 10 grams of Cascade for 60 minutes, and then once the boil's complete, I'm then going to put in 10 grams of Cascade as an aroma hop. The other thing I'm adding is a well flop tablet at 15 minutes to the end of the boil. So here we go. So 10 grams of Cascade and our 40 of Liberty. So they've both gone in. I've also chosen a leaf hop rather than the pellet. I think next time when I buy some hops I'll probably buy the pellet, but I chose the leaf for some reason to start with. So we'll leave that to boil now for 45 minutes and then we'll add the well flop tablet. So currently we're at the 30 litre mark. So, here we go, give it a rest. Right, there's the hour. I've just finished, just turned off the element. I haven't got a wort chiller at the moment. It was something I was going to make before I'd done this brew, but I just didn't have time. So, like I did with the first batch, I'm just going to let this one just chill down now. Just leave it out here for a little bit. I've just put a cover on over the top, just because the condensation inside the greenhouse is just dripping into it, so we don't want that. It will cool down fairly happily on its own, and I'll pop it in the fermentation bucket. Just to try and chill the water a little bit quicker than just leaving it to chill in the air, I filled the HLT with some cold tap water. As a matter of fact, the top's warming up quite quick already. And I've run the wort from the boil kettle through the pump, through the Hermes coil, back into the pot. Hopefully, by doing that, it's going to take some of the heat out of it. I mean, already I can feel difference in kind of the feed into the HLT to the return, and I'm dropping down 0.1 of a degree probably about every second at the moment. I anticipate that will change as the water in the HLT warms up. But so far it seems to be a fairly efficient way of cooling the wort. Is at 29.6 degrees Celsius. So that should be cold enough. Let it chill down before we pitch the yeast. Maybe later on this evening or tomorrow. Just checking the final gravity of the beer, or of the wort. And that's 1058, so 1058. That's going to be a strong beer. I'll try and put it down at the bottom, just below here, what that works out to. Well, everything seems to have gone okay today. There's been a couple of little things, obviously I'm learning still. It's only the second all grain batch I've done. Hopefully it'll turn out good. So if you'd like to subscribe, please hit this button up here. Over this side should be some more videos coming up. I also have a Facebook page, Homebrew Matt. If you're interested and want to keep up with what I'm doing, please like and follow that. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.